Good morning, class. I wanted to post a video along with our announcement for today, Thursday, February 20th. As you probably know by now, we don't have class today at Coastal because of all the ice and snow. Although we didn't get snow, but we have a lot of ice, at least I do, in my yard. So we are proceeding on schedule in terms of getting our paper in by Sunday night. Today in class, we were going to do MLA formatting briefly and then peer review. You were supposed to have your rough draft up by 1 o'clock by class time today. That still stands. Right now, I have 4 people who have submitted their rough drafts to discussion board, but I'm still missing probably 2/3, 3/4 of the class. So you need to go ahead and get that rough draft submitted to discussion board before 1 o'clock today in order to be counted present for that virtual attendance assignment, that original one. And I have this in my announcement about the original VAA. Let me also say that I created an event at your calendar. I sort of switched some due dates on that discussion board because of our second VAA that we have to add this week. That's a makeup attendance assignment because of the missed class today. Um, so what we're doing for that, which will be recorded in your attendance in your self-service is for Friday, February 21st, and that will be the makeup assignment for the makeup class work for today's missed weather day. That makeup work is actually just the work we were going to do in class. So it's not extra. It is exactly what we were going to do in class, and you will get marked present for that assignment by completing a peer review of your classmates' essay on discussion board by the end of the day, 11:59, tomorrow, Friday, February 21st. So I went ahead and let's go ahead, let me get into our week. For week 3, I've done a little bit of adjusting of some of how I've explained it to reflect the missed class today. So here for Thursday, instead of what we originally had, I changed it to say, please review my Thursday. It's supposed to say announcement. I'll fix that. For all MLA guidelines and the virtual attendance assignments peer review guidelines. Your final draft is still due Sunday, February 23rd. So when we click into the folder, you definitely now want to go and look at these videos. I showed these to you in class on Tuesday, but you want to review these videos. Again, here's a quick guide for MLA. If you want, it's 2 pages long. It's everything you need to know about MLA formatting for your paper, along with all of kind of some sample works cited entries with the corresponding in-text citation for a whole variety of types of sources that you might use. For example, if you're using an article on a web, um, a newspaper article on a web, an entire website, in a personal interview. Okay, so this quick guide is pretty handy. Then I gave you this in class on incorporating quotes. You have this as a paper handout. We didn't really look at it on Tuesday. We were going to do that today. So this just gives you information on how you actually introduce that quote. So if you remember from our sample essay, our student author said, according she had that reference to Walter Hagen, the golfer, and that was a little bit awkward. Um, she probably could have just said, most people know the phrase that we need to stop and smell the roses. And she could have just put the author's last name in the last page or in the parenthetical reference right after that quote about stopping and smelling the roses. But a more kind of a better way is to introduce your quote with a signal phrase. And the common signal phrases that most people use, try to incorporate the author's name or the person who said the original quote um, within this signal phrase. And what a signal phrase does is it alerts the reader to knowing that there is going to be a quotation or a paraphrase, and it usually opens up with something like according to, or as such and such a person stated, or in the words of blank. And so that student author could have said, in the words of golfer Walter Hagen, and that would have been better than that long explanation behind the quote. So then you give the quote. You've got to put it, if it's a direct quote, in quotation marks. And then finally, you have to explain the quote's significance. And this is where most people sort of slip up, is they forget to explain the quote's significance. And what the student tried to do in terms of the stopping and smelling of the roses is they went on that long explanation of the history of the quote. Rather than that, the student should have had, as we talked in class on Tuesday, more explanation on how that quote related to her situation. And that's what you want to do. So you're going to introduce your quote according to such and such a person says. You give your quote. And if that's a personal interview, it'd be according to my mom, or when talking to my mom, she told me, and then you give the quote, and then you explain how the quote is important. That is kind of your basic information on incorporating quotes. All right. Um, Here's our sample essay. Okay, so here is the checklist that you have got to use to do your peer review. So I'm going to click on this. We'll take a quick look. You can do this a couple of ways. You can actually go in and fill in this checklist into the boxes. You could print it off and you could handwrite as you are looking at the student paper. You could do this digitally, or you could just simply um, make bullet points at your reply in discussion board. So it's however you want to do, but you want to address all of these. How many do I have? 10, 9 issues. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 different issues for the student, your classmates' paper. First of all, is there a hook? Is it interesting? Does it grab the reader's attention? And when you're giving feedback, you want to be kind, but you want to give them something they can work with. So if you truly think that they need to work on their hook, you should let them know that. Your classmate will be grateful to get that kind of feedback. Again, enough background information. Do you understand what they're talking about? Is the thesis clear? Does it include all of those things we talked about? The 3 places in the proper order, the significance of those 3 places. Does each body paragraph have a topic sentence? Does each body paragraph provide enough detail in their own words? Do you feel like the author's voice, do you feel like there's personality coming through? Are the transitions, are they present? And are they varied? In other words, do you not just sort of repeat the same transitional sentence? What about spelling, grammar, and punctuation? And then finally, the conclusion. So it's all of the aspects of the essay. So when you go to peer review, I want to make some notes about this. So this discussion board is going to get marked as your attendance twice. Once for your original post. Do you post your rough draft by today at 1 p.m.? Okay, that's your first virtual assignment. That's Wednesday, February 19th. The second virtual assignment, this is the makeup weather day work. Do you do a peer review? And is it done and posted by Friday, February 21st? So you have to do them both. When you pop up here, what you're going to do, and these are my 4 people who have their work already. So you're going to look for someone who has not got a peer review. You do not go and peer review someone that already has a peer review because I want everybody to get feedback on their essay. Do not do that. If you do that, let's go back to our discussion board. Let me come back here to my main discussion board here. Oh, darn it. I have to go this way. So if you comment on a paper that already has feedback, you're not going to get credit. You have to look for somebody. And so class, let me just say that you need to get your rough drafts up there ASAP because your classmates are waiting on you to do the peer review and get their assignment in. So this is something that you need to do. All right. Let me know if you have any questions.